In the 1980s, video game technology was evolving rapidly. Arcade games used expensive cutting-edge custom hardware, while home consoles and computers were affordable general-purpose machines. Accurately converting a coin-op game to home use was a serious challenge. In this episode, we're going to look back at Sega's 1985 arcade game, Space Harrier. It's a frenetic action game that I'm not very good at, as the player flies into the screen, shooting at swarms of enemies, dodging obstacles, and fighting boss creatures. It's a good example because it's been released on a wide range of platforms over the decades. Note some characteristics of the original. The title screen features a scaling logo and waving hero. The horizon imagery pans in parallax with 2 layers. The checkerboard floor shifts perspective smoothly with the player. The player has a red, throbbing weapon. Sprites scale smoothly. Player shots converge on the horizon slightly, but maintain horizontal position. Many conversions alter this detail. The top and player scores appear on one line. Digitized voice samples are clear.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Music sounds a little reedy. The player trips over small bushes, but not fatally. Most home conversions preserved the core gameplay, but almost all made sacrifices or resorted to tricks of one sort or another. The lack of scaling hardware was a common issue, requiring multiple images to simulate the effect. The 1986 Elite versions for home computers share an odd flaw. The player dies when colliding with low-lying vegetation instead of just tripping over it. The Atari ST version looks close to the arcade, but suffers from a low frame rate. The Commodore 64 version loses the checkerboard flooring, and it's hard to see what's going on. The version for the UK Spectrum machine shifts color palettes top to bottom, making it easy to lose track of things, and has no music, though it plays smoothly. Sega converted Space Harrier to its own Sega Master System console in 1987. The voice samples are pitched a little high, and many sprites display blocky boundaries when overlap occurs, probably because they're being handled as part of the background to conserve sprites. Space Harrier 3D, a pseudo-sequel also on the Sega Master System, gets bogged down with the 3D effect and loses the game's vital sensation of speed. The 1988 Nintendo NES version by Takara is not impressive. The digitized voice is gone, sprites scale in big steps, and the first level's dragon boss is tiny. Ground obstacles seem to float over the static floor animation, and oddly the player's shots converge towards the center of the screen. NEC converted Space Harrier to the PC Engine in 1988 and released it for the American TurboGrafx 16 in 1990. It plays well, but the checkerboard is replaced with a simpler banded floor and the sprites scale in visible steps. The music sounds good, but the vocal samples are scratchy and indistinct. Sega never converted the original to the Genesis, but did release the sequel, Space Harrier 2. Scaling is chunky, but the music and vocal samples sound good. In 1991, Sega released a unique version of Space Harrier for the handheld Game Gear system. It's likely based on the Master System code, but restores the shifting perspective missing from that edition, and the sprite designs and level names are significantly different. It's more of a sequel than a direct conversion. The best home version, in my opinion, is Sega's 1994 edition for the ill-fated 32X Genesis add-on. Everything is faithfully replicated, and the game really shows off the 32X hardware, but it had taken almost a decade for home technology to catch up with the 1985 arcade game. A later conversion for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance is pretty faithful, but there are some layout changes to accommodate the GBA's lower screen resolution. Sega completely remade Space Harrier for the PlayStation 2 in 2005 in full 3D with a lot of changes. Power-ups shift the balance heavily in the player's favor, and the large explosions look impressive but obscure the view. The remixed music sounds great, but this isn't really a conversion. Sega finally released the original coin-op version as an emulated virtual console game for the Nintendo Wii in 2009. Every system has its strengths and weaknesses. That some of these machines could run Space Harrier at all is a testament to the programmer's ingenuity and persistence. And yeah, I'm still not very good at it.